Balancing heart and mind. In life, we sometimes have to make hard choices. These decisions shape our future and show us who we truly are. I remember a time when my heart and mind didn't agree. My heart spoke of dreams, relationships, and feelings, while my mind talked about logic, safety, and planning. In that moment, I chose to follow my mind. It all started on a cloudy day. The sky felt heavy, as if something important was unsaid. I was sitting alone in my room, holding a letter. It was an offer to move to a new city, a chance for a fresh start. It seemed like the right thing to do, clear and safe. But deep down, something didn't feel quite right. I looked around my room, filled with memories. Pictures of family, friends, and moments I loved. The idea of leaving it all behind made my heart hurt. But my mind told me, this is your chance. Don't let emotions stop you. I took a deep breath and tried to push the emotions away. Logic said this job, this new city, and leaving everything behind were the right choices. It was a decision for a stable future, a chance to grow my career. I told myself that these feelings would fade, and I'd feel at home eventually. When I signed the letter, I felt both excited and sad. My heart protested quietly, but I had already made my decision. So, with one signature, I let my mind take control. In the following days, I packed, said goodbyes, and made plans for my new life. I tried to focus on the excitement of the adventure ahead. But every goodbye felt harder than the last, as if I was leaving a part of myself behind. Still, I told myself, this is what's best. This is the right choice. But a small voice inside me kept asking, was it really the right choice? The first few weeks in the new city were busy. The mornings were full of work, the streets were unfamiliar, and I met many new people. The office became my main focus. At first, the work was exciting, but something felt missing. I kept telling myself that this was the right choice for my future, but I couldn't ignore the feeling that I had left something important behind. At night, when the city was quiet and I was alone in my small apartment, I started to feel the weight of my decision. I thought about my family, my friends, and the place that had once felt like home. I missed the warmth of being with people I knew, laughing together over dinner, and hearing my own voice talking to familiar faces. I tried to fill the emptiness with work. I focused on tasks, meetings, and deadlines, thinking that staying busy would stop me from feeling lonely. But no matter how much I worked, the loneliness wouldn't go away. One evening, after a tiring day at the office, I decided to take a walk. The streets were busy, but I felt so distant from everything. As I passed a small cafe, I heard laughter and music coming from inside. A group of people were enjoying their time together. I watched them for a moment, feeling a pang in my heart. That's when I realized I had traded all of this, the connections, the warmth, the feeling of belonging, for what? A career? For the first time since I arrived, I asked myself, what am I really chasing? I thought about the life I had left behind, the people, the moments, and the feelings I had ignored. My mind had convinced me that this was the logical choice, but my heart was telling me something different. I had followed reason, but now I wondered if it was the right path. As I kept walking, I felt lost. The city, full of lights and noise, seemed so big and cold. For the first time, I wasn't sure if I had made the right choice. That night, as I lay in bed, I thought about the future. What would my life be like years from now if I kept going down this path? Would I look back and regret it? Would I ever find what was missing? I closed my eyes, but sleep didn't come. All I could think about was how much I missed feeling at home, how much I longed to feel connected to the life and people I had left behind. As the weeks went by, the loneliness I had been trying to ignore became stronger. The work didn't feel as rewarding, and the city, although exciting, started to feel like a place where I didn't belong. I found myself thinking more about the life I had left behind, my family, old friends, and the places I used to visit every day. One evening, I got a call from my best friend back home. We talked for hours, shared stories, laughed about old memories, and caught up on everything. As I listened to her voice, something inside me began to change. It was like a door had opened, letting me reconnect with a part of myself that I had pushed away. After the call, I sat quietly and thought about our conversation. My heart hurt as I realized that I had been so focused on my career and what I thought was the right choice that I had ignored the things that really mattered to me. I had forgotten about the warmth of relationships, the joy of being with loved ones, and the peace that comes from being in a place that feels like home. For the first time since I arrived here, I allowed myself to fully feel the weight of my decision. And with that came the thought that maybe, just maybe, I had chosen the wrong path. But was it too late to change? Could I find a way to follow my dreams and also keep the things that made me feel truly alive? The question stayed with me as I got ready for bed that night. My heart seemed louder than before, reminding me of what I had lost. And for the first time in a long while, I knew I needed to listen to it more carefully. Maybe it was time to find a way to bring my heart and mind together. It was a rainy weekend when I decided to take a break from everything. The busy city life, the rush of work, and the emptiness I had been ignoring became too much. I couldn't keep avoiding my feelings anymore. Choosing reason over heart had brought me success in my career. But at what cost? I had built my life on logic, but it didn't feel complete. It was like a house without warmth, functional, but missing something important. I realized I needed to make a change. But how could I? I had already committed to this path. I had moved here, started a new job, and worked hard to build a future that seemed so clear. Could I really change direction without feeling like I was giving up on everything I had worked for? That night, as I sat by the window, watching the rain, I thought about what really mattered to me. The people I loved, the memories I left behind, and the feeling of being connected and living with purpose. But could I have both, a successful career and a fulfilling life? The answer didn't come that night, but I knew I had to make a change. I couldn't keep living with the constant conflict between my heart and my mind. I had to find a way to balance both, to make room for emotions without letting them control me, and to follow logic without forgetting what made me happy. The next week, I started to make small changes. I began by reaching out to my family more often, talking to them not just about my work, but about how I was feeling, my doubts, and my happiness. Talking to them again felt like coming home, even though we were far apart. Their words of encouragement and love reminded me how important connection is. I also started to spend more time outside of work. Instead of filling every free moment with tasks, I began exploring the city. I visited parks, went to local events, and found cafes where I could relax and watch people. I rediscovered my love for art and music, things I used to enjoy but had forgotten because of work. These small changes started to make a difference inside me. I felt less trapped in the busy routine I had created. It was like I was learning how to live again, finding a balance between work and the emotional side of life I had ignored for so long. I realized I didn't have to choose one over the other. There was a way to have both if I allowed myself to be open to it. One afternoon, as I walked through a park near my apartment, I saw a couple sitting on a bench, laughing and talking. They looked so happy and relaxed. I stopped and watched them for a moment, feeling a wave of emotion. It wasn't just about wanting connection, but realizing that I could also have that peace and joy, even in a city that felt so new. Maybe the answer wasn't to choose between my heart and my mind, but to let both exist together. I didn't have to give up my dreams to feel my emotions, and I didn't have to ignore my feelings to achieve my goals. It was about finding balance and allowing myself to grow in both ways. As the months went by, I started to feel more at home in my new life. There were still challenges. Some days the pressure from work was too much, and sometimes loneliness would sneak back in. But I had learned how to handle these feelings, to let myself experience them without letting them control me. I had found a balance between my heart and my mind, and I realized that I needed both. They were both important for living a full and meaningful life. I understood that success wasn't just about reaching goals. It was also about enjoying the journey, connecting with the people around me, and listening to both my dreams and my emotions. One evening, as I stood on the balcony of my apartment, watching the sunset over the city, I felt a peace I hadn't felt in a long time. I had finally accepted my choices, and I felt at peace with myself. Choosing to follow my mind had brought me here, but it was my heart that helped me find my way back to who I truly was. And now, for the first time in a long time, I knew I had chosen not just the right path, but the path that felt true to who I am.